Hello, Stacy here with Limelight AZ. 40 weeks, and our update for 40 weeks and 660 stings. We only did 10 stings this week. We had a few hiccups. We had one day that nobody got out to zip up the netting quick enough. It was almost sunset before anybody got out there, and by then the bees were gone. And just, our household is just in a bit of chaos. My mom and the rest of the family, myself included, have recently been ill. It looks like a bomb went off in our home. And our kids, I love them, but they have no ability of cleaning up after themselves. And my mom can't keep up with it. So we are switching gears. Now that I feel well most of the time, in fact, we got the last puzzle piece, I think, this morning as far as making sure that I feel better or feel good, even if I am not strong enough yet to get out of the bed. And that was removing rice from my diet. I accidentally didn't eat anything with rice in it. Usually I have something rice-based, crackers, pasta, bread, something in place of what you would typically use, where you would typically use wheat. But I didn't have anything that I had that was grain-based was corn yesterday. So today I woke up and I realized after I'd been up for about an hour that I wasn't hurting, that I didn't wake up going, ugh, my hands, my arms, stretched, trying to get things moving again, pain, again, that pain that I've been dealing with, that is this achiness in the morning, very arthritic-like pain, is not nearly what I dealt with previously. What I dealt with the Lyme before was that, in addition to this intense pain that you can't even think straight because you're in so much pain. That is for the most part pretty much gone. I don't honestly remember the last time I had a really painful day. Actually, I do remember the last time I had a really painful day, and it's been a while. I don't know what the date was. I could probably figure it out because I had messaged my friend Stephanie and was talking to her, and I'm like, I am hurting a lot today, and I think it was that day and a couple of other days after that were really bad. But since then, I haven't had a really bad spell with the pain, and it's been months. So, but this lagging kind of arthritic, especially in the morning type pain, that's really annoying. It makes it just so that you're not waking up in a good mood. You're not in a bad mood, but you're just waking up going, ugh. Well, I didn't have that this morning and realized that I hadn't eaten anything with rice yesterday. I had plenty of dairy, so I knew it wasn't because there was no dairy in my diet. Corn apparently seems to be okay with me. So we are pretty much going to be nixing the rice, I think, most of the time, except for maybe once in a while, and then I'll just have to realize that the next day I'm going to wake up in more pain than I'd like to. So anyways, so for the last year, it's been pretty much my mom, my daughter when she was here, and my husband caring for the kids. I was no longer the primary caretaker since January of 2017. And so here we are, a little over a year later, but I am no longer in the massive pain that I was in. And we're just waiting for my muscles to get to where they need to be to support the weight of my body and be able to, for them to strengthen enough for me to get there. It's just a waiting game at this point. And I feel really, really good. I have for quite some time now. There have been a few days where I felt like the Lyme was trying to cause headaches and stuff. But I haven't had that so much since I've started back on the stinging, even with it being very little. And the only other major complaint I have is my legs don't extend the way that they're supposed to. So after we've been stinging consistently for a month, I plan on starting to sting my knees. Well, I guess my hands too, because they don't bend the way that they're supposed to. I've gotten used to using them the way that they are, but they don't bend the way they're supposed to, and if I jab them or something, they hurt. But really, in the grand scheme of things, it's extremely minor in comparison to what I was dealing with. But my legs not extending, that's a problem to try to be able to walk. So I am planning that once we have consistently been stinging for a month, 3 sessions a week for 4 weeks, maybe 5, then I'll start stinging my knees. And hoping that it starts loosening up so that I can start extending them better. So that's the game plan at the moment. But anyway, so back to a bomb has gone off in the household, and my mom can't keep up with it, and Logan works too much. And my kids are just, I mean, they clean when they're told to clean, but they don't have chores. Well, that has now changed. I am now doing horizontal parenting. You know, I cannot I cannot stand watching my mom trying to keep up with everything, and she's not good at enforcing with the kids. I love her dearly, but she's never been very good. She's too soft-hearted, and she doesn't see the bad repercussions of that the way that I do. I was raised the same way, and it's not until you become an adult that you're like, the kids have got to learn how to do this stuff, And so starting last night, I very boldly told the kids, I'm like, that is it. Grandma is exhausted, and I obviously can't do it. Dad doesn't have enough time. And so you guys now have chores. It's like, Jade, you have to clean up after every meal. Grandma can cook, but she's too tired to clean up. And then she plans to do it and plans to do it and plans to do it. Before you know it, it looks like a bomb has gone off in the kitchen. So it is now Jade's responsibility to keep the kitchen cleaned up after meals. And that means counters, floor, dishes, all of that stuff. And Orion is now needing to maintain the dining room and the main bathroom and keep it going clean-wise. And so we have not gotten into details yet. Right now, we're just trying to keep it from being bad, like embarrassing if somebody comes over. And I hand them my phone, and I check their work that way. So they take video and photos, and so as I review it, I tell them what they need to do and how, and it's working really well. I don't know why it never occurred to me to do that before. We use the phone for everything else. They show me pictures of stuff that they're working on that they can't bring in. They show me cute things that Nissa does. It never occurred to me to be able to check their work this way. I just thought, I have no idea what's going on out there. And so, I don't really think about it. And so now that's their responsibility. And then Nissa / my mom's room is the responsibility of both the kids, and they did a fantastic job yesterday. I sent them both in there, and I said one kid does soft stuffed animals and clothes, and the other one does hard toys and any trash that might be in there, and the vacuuming. And they did a beautiful job. I was amazed. So I'm very happy with the progress that we're going to do. I've even thought, you know what? I feel good enough to maybe start a blog about like horizontal parenting, how to parent your kids when you can't get out of bed. I think that's a little too ambitious on my part. But still, I'm having to get creative with how to step in as the main parent again. It's too much for my mom. It just is. And she has to take care of the baby. I can't. I physically cannot take care of the baby on a regular basis. So I need her to be able to focus on the baby and maybe meals. And now I need to get the kids focusing on picking up responsibility where they should be doing it anyway. So, mom rant over, I think. Anyway, so there we are. And that ends up inevitably snowballing when the house is a mess and things need to be done that the kids can do and aren't doing. It snowballs and affects my stinging, which is how I got here with the update video. It becomes a cascading of events that affects the bee stinging and makes the bee stinging not a priority. So, that's it. I've had it. I want out of this bed. I need the bee stings in order to do that. And I have decided that things will change. And so I am going to not just be homeschooling the kids at this point, but stepping in metaphorically as the main parent, I think, at this point, because my mom is just too run down and tired for it. And there's not really a good reason for me not to parent the best that I can from the bed at this point. I don't go into these deep states of depression like I used to, and I am not in unimaginable physical pain like I was, and, I can do more mentally and emotionally than I was, and in fact, physically, I can do more, but I just can't do it all yet, and so I'm excited to have this change and keep the kids on top of doing what they should be doing for their responsibilities. What else? Okay, so any kind of bad stuff going on? Yes, my right knee seems to be having more and more and more trouble. I was able to extend it further at one point. At this point, that's really, I mean, it's definitely a, what is it? A 90-degree angle at this point, and I can't get it past a 90-degree angle. And that bothers me, which is why I want to start stinging my knees in the next month or two. And my left knee, although not as bad, has been having problems. My knees have been achy more. So I suspect that the Lyme is hiding out in my knees, being that the joints in my knees are having so much trouble. And the fact that they're starting to ache more, especially with as much of the stinging as I've missed. The muscles continue to come back slowly, ever so slowly. But I'm excited about it, and the fact that I am emotionally there, I'm good emotionally most of the time. Very rarely do I have a breakdown, and if I do, really it's more of just your general emotional upset, not like a Lyme upset where it destroys your day. And what else? Let me think. Oh, yes. So I have been kind of doing homeschool with the kids again. Not as effectively or consistently as I'd like. And so I'm trying to change that. I had told you in a recent video, I think it was in one of the Thankful videos, about having had homeschool stuff shipped here to Arizona that I've really, really wanted. We now have that stuff, and we have a couple of straggler things that needed to be ordered on its way. And so this week is spring break for Mesa kids and Mesa and Gilbert kids, and so we will be doing intensive homeschool with Orion to try to get him caught up, because he's on restriction anyway and can't play with the neighborhood kids. Jade will be able to play with the neighborhood kids because she's not in trouble. So I'm going to let her have fun with the kids that are off school while I do more intensive work directly with Orion, who's further behind anyway. So I'm so excited to get started on this tomorrow, and I'm trying to decide what else I want to implement into our homeschooling. I am going to be including some devotions. We're going to start doing devotions in the evenings with Dad, as well as on Saturdays is Shabbat for us. We really haven't been doing much. We pretty much just take it easy and try not making purchases and things like that. But I think that we are going to be more intentional and do more study scripturally on Saturdays as a family. Maybe watch a program about from like there's I'll put the link down the bottom, but there's like El Shaddai Ministries, as well as a few others. That's the one that comes to mind for me, though. So we may start watching their Shabbat service. We'll see. So some big changes coming up, and trying to be better organized, better focused. Try to start planning out my lesson plans for homeschool, at least for the things that I think need to be planned out for, like the family devotions, so that we can include it at the same time as the parshas. If you don't know what a parsha is, it is a reading that is done by everybody that follows the parsha each week. And for believers in Yeshua or Jesus, there's an additional part that is added that has New Testament verses with it. So we'll be starting to follow those so that we can include that in our devotion time. So I've got lots of ideas. I probably should write all of this down, because they're just sort of floating around in my head, and I'm going to start forgetting stuff in the near future if we don't get it tackled. So, but some of the things that I want to do, I'm waiting for shipment on. Oh my gosh, I've just been talking for 17 minutes. I think it's time to let you guys go. Not my updates generally aren't this long. Otherwise, I'm doing well. I'm very excited about the bee venom. I'm glad to get started on it, even if it's a little bit of a rough start, or get started on it again, even though if it's a little bit of a rough start at the moment. So as we tame the beast of my household, things should line up easier to make it more consistent. So I'm excited about that. Anyways, I'm going to let y'all go. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week, and that the next week coming at you is amazing. Bye.